All right, showing that we're live. Let me just refresh the page quickly here. Yeah, we're live. Perfect. Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great night. Welcome to Chit Chat and Geek Out. Tonight, we are joined by special effects makeup artist Ashley Levy. Ashley has worked on some amazing projects in TV series and films such as MTV Scream, Hellfest, Happy Death Day, and many, many more that we will discuss in this interview. How are you today, Ashley? Thank you for being here.
Hello, friends. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I love talking to just other horror fans. It's our little horror family, and we get to talk about what we love the most.
Of course, I totally agree. It's fun. So everyone that's in the chat too, if you have any questions for Ashley, just let me know. We'll get to your questions at some point of the stream. But Ashley, so you have been in this industry for quite some time now, and you've worked on some amazing films. How about did you get into this industry?
Well, first of all, I did start out actually as a fine artist. I went to school at USC and I studied technical design and minored in art history. But growing up, I always was obsessed with horror. Like, I remember my third grade birthday party was Tales from the Crypt themed, and I was the crypt keeper.
Oh my gosh.
I just always had a love for horror. It's always had a place in my heart. When I saw Freak for the first time, changed everything. And anybody that knows me knows my not so secret obsession with subspecies. All four of them. They're the best. I love them. And I actually started off, I was doing beauty and runway makeup. I worked in Greece, Athens, Greece, for a couple of years. And when I came back to the States, it was just when the rebate state, kind of like the Louisiana, the Georgia, really started kicking up. And instead of hiring separate effects departments, they were having one department head do both, do beauty and effects. And I've always been obsessed with horror, and I was always practicing on my own. I would sweep the shops of amazing artists to get tips and tricks from them. And then finally, when that came about, it was an opportunity to really get to do both. And from then on, I was not looking back. Once Mama got some blood in her hands, she was not going back.
Nice. And when you started, what do you remember was the first effect or like special effects makeup you did to yourself, and like what materials you used?
Oh my gosh, yes. I started out like all of us with, especially since this was kind of pre-internet, because I'm a little long in the tooth. And so I remember in high school, my friends and I, we did like a little impromptu photo shoot, and I decided we'd do some like wounded fallen soldiers from like the Civil War, and did the latex and tissue buildup for bullet hole wounds, and did the Ben Nye blood, and it was basically just the Ben Nye theater kit. And at that point, to me, it looked so realistic. You know, looking back now at how realistic things have gotten, it's not. And at the time, it was that realization of using resources around the house and everything to get those kind of effects, and then realizing that all these different materials brought about different results. And so yes, I think it all starts with the liquid latex, because that opens gates for everything. It's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug to effects.
For sure. And I remember too, because like special effects makeup always interests me. So I remember like in high school I used to do a lot of it, and I looked up a lot of like what's it called, like how to do it online and like on YouTube and all that stuff. And I remember I did one with like what was it, toilet paper and even like glue. It was weird, and it actually turned out good. You just needed like your special effects, like, or just like your paint and what you want to use with it, but you just use household items. It's pretty cool.
I love that. I love to hear stories like that. That's what I want everybody to embrace that, embrace the art of it. And then, you know, I'm approaching it from a fine artist point of view, because it's two totally different mentalities I found in this industry: the makeup artist and the artist. The artist, I feel we don't care about how you get there. We just want that result, and we're passionate about it. We want everybody to join in and get their hands dirty, and everybody to appreciate the color theory, the sculpting, and making something out of nothing. And I love hearing everybody's story about how they've made their own effects, because we really are a little family, encouraging each other and helping each other make some art.
Exactly. And did you have any like kind of like role models or looked up to anybody? Like, who was your inspiration?
I mean, I hate to sound silly, but well, not silly, but repetitive here. I mean, Savini, of course, growing up, and then through Savini, getting on to Nicotero, Rick Baker, all of those greats. And the funny thing is that I was never really exposed to female effects artists growing up. So it was like a male world. And I think I was just on that cusp too of coming in when it's only been recently that female effects artists have been taken seriously and given exposure. Because beforehand, you have to fight tooth and nail to prove your worth. And when I come to set, I typically come a little bougie, and I'm unapologetic about it. I love aesthetics, and so I don't compromise in that. And it took a very long time to be taken seriously that I can do effects and I can do it well. Because you take one look at me and think, oh, she doesn't want to break a nail or something like that. But I wish growing up that I had been exposed to more female effects artists like B. Neal and even, I mean, I know that these days, American Horror Story, Erin Kruger, Lee Cash, everyone's like, oh my God, how great is she? We just found out about her. And I'm like, oh my God, she's been doing this for forever. And had I known about that earlier, it might have inspired me to really get into it even earlier than I did and hit it harder, because then I know that there is a spot for me. But luckily nowadays, I think that everyone knows that now too, and everyone has a platform. Between YouTube and Instagram and social media, everybody has a platform to be like, look at me, and I want to look at you. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and yeah, you make a good point there, because everyone does have their own platform. Like, I follow a lot of special effects makeup artists on Instagram, and they always post their work on there. And yeah, like YouTube for tutorials and all that fun stuff. And yeah, so many people do it. It's such a cool art. I love it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the best and worst things about social media is it really, in regards to prepping you for working in the industry, is you get slammed firsthand so hard with negative comments as much as you do positive comments. In fact, it's probably more of like 20% positive, 80% negative. So I think that it forces you at an early stage in your journey in special effects to make that decision. I'm either going to grow a thicker skin and get better, or this isn't for me. I can't take people coming after me like that. I have too much self-doubt. I'm an artist. Oh, this is terrible. And it really kind of weeds out the people who have the stamina for the industry from the people that, maybe just doing really cool makeup and taking photographs is your way to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the industry is tough. You have to have the thickest skin. And so I think that's why that social media platform is great in regards to that, sort of preparing you for that, if that's where you want to go.
And actually, this is a good question because you're saying about these people that are posting all these work on all these social media platforms. For people that are interested in this and want to get into this field for film and TV, what advice would you give them?
Honestly, just keep watching tutorials, watching videos. Make sure you learn the basics, honestly. From an artistic point of view, make sure you know basic beauty makeup, because you're going to have to do both. You can't just pigeonhole yourself into special effects, because you're going to isolate your opportunities if you don't broaden your talents. And sometimes that movie where you came in to just day play and powder people in the background could lead to an effects gig, but you never would have gotten that had you not known basic beauty. So always be learning, always be picking up. Go online. It's $4 a month. Go to Prosthetics Magazine online. Has the best information, has the best updated stuff, and the people who contribute really do want to share their information. There are good people that genuinely want to share. Take any kind of classes you can online. I definitely recommend, if you can get a good in-person class, that's great, but I wouldn't necessarily go for it because there's a lot of people who teach classes that aren't necessarily qualified. And I think you're going to get the best training online, and you do need to get some sort of basic background training. But another thing is keep posting your work. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a show and I've been looking for some people to come on, and I look on Instagram and I see, okay, for this area, let me see some Instagram pictures. And I see some really great pictures. I'm like, let me get that contact information. Hey, because in Georgia and Louisiana, you do not have to be union to work on a show. So that's tip number 2, go to one of those states, go to a right to work state, because you can go work on these shows without having to be union. And I'll go through these things and I'll see someone's work and I'm going to wow, they've got a really good eye, because that's what I need. I need a good eye. I can train you. All department heads can train you. Just as long as you have a good eye and a good attitude, that's all we need.
Right.
And then I think,
are you still there?
Some artists inspire you.
Yeah.
Oh, or did I break up?
Oh, no, I don't know. Go ahead.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Oh, great. Look up some artists that really inspire you. Stalk them. Stalk them on Instagram. Stalk them on social media. Reach out to them. Become friendly with them, because we live in such an isolated world. We don't really have the opportunity to go out and meet new people and find new upcoming talent who we're always looking for to work with. And if you come to us, it might seem inappropriate in your eyes, but we're into it, totally into it, because we want to meet you. We don't know how to meet you, but if you come to us, we're definitely always looking for new people to bring into our little coven, so to speak.
That's great to hear. I mean, it's awesome that you guys take in people and you can train them and do all that stuff as long as they have some experience. That's really cool.
And, we're definitely in a time right now where there was only a finite amount of projects that were going on each year. Now we've got every single streaming platform. There's so much work. There's so many shows going on. So we want to train our tribe, so to speak, so that if we can't take a great opportunity and we don't want to ruin a good relationship with a producer or a director, we can outsource. We're like, hey, listen, I'm so sorry, I'm booked on another show. This is someone that I've trained from the bottom up. They'll do you right. You'll enjoy their work. They've got a great attitude, and we want to expand our net like that. It's now come from an art-based industry to almost like a very businessy one, where you've got to cast out your networking net, and we want you.
Right. Wow. That's good to know. And like everyone that's in the chat, that's good to know. Like Shattered Perfection that's here. Hey, everybody in the chat. Shattered Perfection, she's really big in that. She's very artistic. So that's awesome. Let's see here in the chat we got. Oh, Stan Wilson. Stan Wilson online courses are good for the special effects. I've heard good things about that.
Absolutely. Stan Winston's a great one. I could definitely provide you with a list after our chat of some really great online courses to take, because some of them aren't so obvious artists. Someone like a nerd like me who looks up these people and just stalks them relentlessly knows that they're out there, but there are certain there's definitely some artists out there that have some online courses that you wouldn't know about that are fantastic. Like fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when I think it was in elementary school, because I've always been fascinated with the special effects department. Remember, I think I made a project and you had to choose like where you want to go in your future, where you want to study. I remember because Tom Savini is one of the few that actually has like a physical school to go to and work hands-on, and that's I think in Pennsylvania, I want to say. Pittsburgh, yeah. I remember I always wanted to go there. I would still love to go there, but I heard good things about that one too for hands-on work there. That would be pretty cool to go there.
With anything like because it all started Romero, all that started in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little saying we have, like, if you come from Pittsburgh, you got some street cred on you already.
Mm-hmm.
And already we're like, Pittsburgh, what? Night of the Living Dead, and Savini School. I know a lot of people who've gone to it, and it is very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
I know Cinema. I think it's Cinema Makeup School. I'm totally butchering the name. How embarrassing for me. I know they have a good one out in LA too, and it's very beauty and effects oriented, which is a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that you can easily go take a beauty course somewhere and then put all of your focus on an effects school. But I would challenge you first to see what you're capable of. Watch a lot of these little tutorials. Go get those supplies and try it, videotape it. Here's my first attempt doing it. And then, ask for some critiques, and then people will guide you. You'll get some assholes, of course, who are going to be like, this is terrible. And they can go F themselves. But, let people say, oh, this is great. You do really cool there. What I'm moving forward, what I would do differently is X, Y, and Z. And then go at it again. And I find throughout my career, I've always underestimated my abilities until I've been thrown at them and had to do it, and then I surprised myself.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one show I had to, because old age makeup alone is very difficult. It's it's probably one of the hardest things.
Oh, yeah.
Because we all know exactly how we age. Cuts can be interpreted differently based on your own physical experience, but everybody has seen aged people on a daily basis, so we know. And I remember I was asked to do not only one full, we're talking like 40-year-old age makeup, but I had to do 4 of them in one day. And I was, of course, front, I'm like, of course, absolutely, whatever you need, you get, sir. But inside, I was shitting my pants. Like, oh, fuck, this is the end of my career. Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, that's fine.
By the way, okay. I was like, oh, fuck, this is the end of my career. I'm already, like, imagining myself, like, changing my name, cutting my hair, like, got to reinvent myself because I'm just going to crash and burn so hard. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. This is going to be like an Independence Day when Jeff Goldblum is sitting in a spaceship and they're smoking, Jeff Goldblum, Will Smith, they're smoking a cigar and they're like, well, this is it. We're dead. And then they're like, you know what? If we're going to go, we're going to go out in a blaze of glory. And they get that ship and they blast through. That's kind of what I thought. I was like, no, we're going to go out in a blaze of glory. At least I tried. That's all I can say. And I surprised myself, and it happened. It worked. Yes, was it perfect on all of them? No, but was it really good? Yes. And I didn't know I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I basically surprised myself and didn't realize that I was pushed to that. And there's a lot of other effects too that I surprised myself with. For instance, Scream season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of filming, we weren't getting scripts until the day of because everything was so under wraps. So I remember it was an episode with Rodman Slender, was our director, and it was the episode where we had to do a cut. Someone had just been cut in half with that big saw, and he comes back as a ghost, and we wanted to see a visual of dead ghost boy like bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always down to clown. Like, you do not have to threaten me with a good time. And the director was just like, hey, listen, network aside, can we do this? And I'm just like, let's do this. So I pulled out some 3rd degree, did some thick blood tubing, and pulled that effect of him being split in half out of my blood.
Wow.
And it was one of those things too. But of course, it was also, I was running on the I will not let my horror community down. You want this effect, you get it. So there was outward motivation, but I honestly think all of you will be surprised at how much you're capable of. There's so much self-doubt out there, and everybody it sounds cliche, but everybody's kind of a hater and they don't want other people to succeed because it's easier to just sit in mediocrity and do nothing than take a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So you want everyone to be mediocre so you don't ever have to challenge yourself. And so you never really know what you're capable of. But I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to go get the third degree and start sculpting some stuff and see what you come up with. You're going to surprise yourself.
For sure. I mean, I've always like what's it called? I want to start sculpting. I never have sculpted yet. Like but I've done a lot of what's it called? Just get like the special effects like I've been doing on my face and doing my arms and doing all that stuff. But I do want to get to sculpting. I think sculpting would be fun.
Yeah, that is a pretty crucial, not crucial. It's a skill that if you have that, it gives you a lot of freedom to create. And a lot of these effects, when you see in movies, because you've got a lot of suits who do not want to take up time or money, you have to fight for your effect to be shown. Because all of them want to just do it digitally because it's quicker and they think it's cheaper, but it's not. But so if you really want to pay homage to classic horror films and do justice by your people, you got to fight for those effects, meaning you got to be able to do it fast and good.
Oh, yeah.
And sculpting is, if you can sculpt, that means you don't have to buy pre-made prosthetics to do a bullet hole, to do a wound. It means you can basically make those prosthetics yourself, or you can sculpt them using third degree. Now, third degree it's just for anyone who might not know what that is. It's a 2-part silicone compound in 2 separate jars, and when you mix equal parts together, it hardens. So when you mix them together, you can sculpt a wound onto the skin, and then when it dries, it's a silicone prosthetic. And a lot of effects artists generally poo-poo it because they are in favor of a proper encapsulated silicone piece that has better texture. Yes, absolutely. Always want to go with those. But if you can sculpt something on the fly and really make a death scene that was put in last minute look even cooler, why wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure.
We want that.
Yeah. No, yeah, that is a big skill. And, unfortunately, because I know we're just talking recently, too, about the computerized special effects and practical effects. Obviously, knowing you, because you do a lot of the prosthetics and you do a lot of the practical effects. And what's your view on that with the computerized and the practical effects?
Oh God, I think it's wonderful. I think if you can get married, if the two of you can have a wonderful relationship, you can turn something awesome into something even more special. I think it's such a great thing. I mean, take Avengers even. Like that's a practical effect that with oh gosh, trying to think of it. Is it Thanos? I think Thanos. With his, it's a prosthetic that he's wearing, and then they enhanced it digitally, and that's a great example of marrying those two worlds to create that experience. Because, like I had mentioned before, as an artist, we don't care about the journey. We want that aesthetic. We want people to be lost in that world, and so if there's ever an opportunity where I'm on a set where I can actually talk to the visual effects person and say, hey, listen, this is what I think. I'm going to bring this to the table. Can you zhuzh it? Can you pump it up a little bit with your visual effects and we can make something bitchin'? And they're like, yeah, let's do this. That is a great, great world to live in. Where it goes a little pear-shaped is if you have someone who's fighting a little too hard for a practical effect that really would benefit from a little assistance with the effects, or you have a visual effects person who's just like, no, we cannot afford, it's going to take too much time and it's going to look shitty. Then you get your Sharknadoes. No shade to Sharknado, but it's because it is what it is. It's like the Fast and the Furious of like fun, campy horror movies. We know exactly what we're getting going into it. But that's an example of just going one way instead of marrying the two, which I really think that's where we're headed in this industry. And I really want people to be open to that and encourage it and really have that wonderful relationship of fuck the process. Let's make something bitchin' for everyone to watch.
Right. And from your experience, because we were talking about the old age effects makeup and all that stuff too, like, do you have what has been the most difficult special effects you've ever had to do so far?
Well, old age obviously is so hard. It's the hardest, and then you get people like Greg Canham who just make it look like he's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's just so stupid easy for him, and Tony Garner and all Tyrion effects, who also did the mask for Happy Death Day.
Mm-hmm.
People like them, they walk in and they sneeze on somebody, and it's an amazing effect. But they've been hammering away for the longest time, and it shows. That's a very, very difficult one, I would say. Also, to me, I look at it the same way. Chefs often refer to anybody can make a really bougie dish, but can you cook an egg properly? Because that's the number one sign of how good you are as a chef.
Right.
How can you properly cook an egg? I think the same thing. Like the simplest of like a very straightforward neck slice, a bullet hole wound. Can you make that look perfect? Because people know they don't know good from great, but they know right from wrong. And that was a hard process. Those kind of simple things are hard.
Right.
I will say personally for me, the hardest thing that I ever did, I think was subconsciously a suicide mission,
Okay.
but fuck it. Because we all have, we've all paid our dues. We've all done our no budget horror movies for the love of the craft. And I did this no budget movie where we needed to do an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do so, I had the mask in foam latex, and I said, the body needs to be done in silicone. It's just a personal preference of mine. So, and it was just me because we couldn't even afford an assistant for me. And I literally made a pattern of the entire body. And I think the alien might be on my Instagram page at some point, but it was literally silicone pieces, all each piece made out like a pattern.
Wow.
And it was a 12-hour application day of applying these silicone pieces, patching it up, and making it all one thing. The poor talent, we actually put on the entire anthology Fear itself and watched that from beginning to end like twice.
Wow.
To like
that's crazy.
Doing it. That was probably the hardest thing I did.
Wow.
Not because it was anything. It was just a lot to put on your plate, and it would have helped if I had help. But at the end of the day, it was really cool thinking, hey, if I ever need to do this again by myself, I'll say no. Mm-hmm. But it's good to know that I can.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy. That's impressive.
Yeah, and that's another example of like you don't know what you're capable of until you push yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what I encourage everyone to do is really just surprise yourself. And don't be afraid to fall, because if you aim for 3 steps ahead of where you are, even if you fall, you're still 1 step above where you were before. Mm-hmm. And all those little tiny steps add up. And next thing you know, you've got a really great set of skills under your belt. And right. You're ready to go out there and you're ready to make a living in this industry.
Oh, exactly. And because you've worked on a lot of like different great horror films. Do you have a favorite film that you've worked on or TV show? Like, what has been your best experience in this field?
Oh man, well, I did have a blast on Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2 coming out in a week and some change. Mm-hmm. It's not only was I a fan of Chris Landon's from Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, but it was the most, like, I've never laughed out loud so much in my life. The environment was so much fun. The talent was so much fun. When you have that group of people and you have a script where dick and fart jokes are just the norm, mm-hmm. then you're always going to have a good time, and it's not going to feel like work. As hard as it was, I did have a great time doing the screen seasons, and I'm hoping soon, one day, season 3 will come out, because you guys are going to have your minds blown by how much just violence is involved, how many people get murdered, and it's a cool new take on it, and I hope they release it sometime soon. But I had a lot of fun because it was a project where I had a lot of artistic freedom, and they, knowing what I did the first 2 seasons, by the time we got to the third season, it was just, you do it. You go with it. Go with the flow. And the first 2 seasons of Scream were especially special to me because normally on a TV show, they bring in TV directors who just do TV, and they know how to shoot it for network. On Scream, for each episode, they brought in indie horror filmmakers.
Oh, wow.
So I got a chance to make things from a horror director's point of view, and also I got to fangirl every week with each new person they brought on. So it was probably one of the more fun projects. And Hellfest was a lot of fun too. But that was also being able to work with the costume department, and then also Lucas Godfrey did a lot of the amazing effects that you see on there. And working with all of them together as a team, that's a cool experience because you're making a moment. You're making a memory for somebody. And that's what it's all about for all of us, is to look back when we're much older and be like, dude, do you remember when we watched that movie and it made us feel a certain way? And now when if I'm ever in a sad place, I just pop that movie on and then I'm in a good place again.
Right.
That's what we all want to be.
For sure. And speaking about MTV Scream, I'm a big fan of that show. I love that show. And yeah, I think a lot of the fans are wondering like what's happening now with that show, because you said you finished doing everything.
We filmed it like almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
I want to say. And it's unfortunately, I mean, with makeup artists, we're kind of what we call below the line, and above the line are all the talent, the producers, the directors, that. And whenever we complete a project, unfortunately, we're pretty left in the dark about everything. And I can only speculate at this time. I think it has something to do with the Weinstein, because that broke when we were in the middle of filming.
Wow.
So the timing could not have been worse.
That's too bad.
And I just hope that they will be released sometime soon.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you the second they release that puppy, you're going to get all my photos, all my stuff going on Instagram, all my stuff put on social media. We took some amazing pictures. We had amazing guest stars.
Wow.
It's so good. And I just hope it gets released. And if it doesn't, I'm hoping for the day that they say, hey, Ashley, go ahead and post all of your behind-the-scenes stuff and shooting and pictures from it. Because I would love to share that with everybody as soon as I'm able to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited because, like, I know a lot of fans are worrying about, like, what's happened. Like, did it end? Did it get canceled? But, like, once it was in the works with season 3, because they changed the storyline, they changed the mask, they went like their own different direction, which I actually don't. It's pretty cool because season 2 did end off in a good way. Didn't really end off with a big cliffhanger. So for them to go on like a different direction of the show with bringing the original Scream mask back and all that stuff, I'm excited for it. I hope it gets released soon because I think it'd be a fun show.
I agree with you too on that. Because it was like with Scream season 2, first of all, we're just like, these kids have like the worst parents in the world. Like, the worst. This is like murder high, and they're just like, see you later, kids. Like every year, more and more of them get killed off, and the parents keep sending them to school. Like worst parents ever, 100%. And I love the direction of it. Like the series itself for season 3, it's a great direction. First of all, it's inclusive, and that's something we really need. And it's not your stereotypical fare. I love they brought back the mask, the original mask. And that's the heart and soul of it. I love they brought back the classic kills.
Yes.
And they didn't try to get overly creative with it, which once again, you don't have to threaten me with a good time. I love creative, inventive kills. But there's something almost poetic in the Scream series of just that good old knife. That good old kill with the knife, like die 1,000 deaths by the same weapon that you really look forward to. And what they did this season, it really does feel like a good reboot. Like the writing is great, and it does make a lot of sense, and there's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of M. Night Shyamalan,
Awesome.
Plot twist, moments. And it's something definitely to look forward to. And I do have hope, because shows like You that just came out, it was on Lifetime and nobody heard of it, and it came and went and it died. And then out of nowhere, Netflix resurrects it, and we got to see basically Baby Dexter. And I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. I watched it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it also gave me hope that whatever's going on, it's almost like I feel like Scream 3's parents got divorced, and they're trying to figure out a custody battle. And I'm hoping that mom and dad can figure out a good battle, and they'll let their baby Scream come out and hang with us. and I'm hoping that I have hope that it will emerge, just even based on the fact that shows that have been forgotten or lost are suddenly making an emergence, because there's so many streaming platforms popping up left and right. Somebody's got to want it.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody, let's give Scream a home.
For sure. And remember too, because MTV Scream, when it came out, it was on a cable network. I don't remember which one, but since I'm in Canada, I didn't get that cable network. And then once Netflix bought it and became an original series from them, I was able to watch it, and it was great.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, I feel not necessarily underrated, because I think the right amount of people liked it. I wish more people had seen it. I think we were also kind of on that cusp when the Scream series first came out, where they were still trying, a lot of networks were still thinking that people would stay devoted to the TV and watch the TV, instead of where we are right now, which is being very dedicated to understanding and realizing and embracing that streaming content is where everyone's at.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's why maybe Scream didn't get the justice it deserved when it first came out. But I think when people see it, they really appreciate it, especially horror fans, because you will see the difference that the horror movie directors have in directing it. Like even the upcoming Pet Sematary, those directors did an episode of Scream.
Oh wow.
And it was a great one. It's the one where where they get locked in the coffin.
Oh yes. Wasn't that Noah?
I don't want to reveal too much information in case anybody hasn't seen it yet. I don't want to do any spoilers. But the coffin episode, how about that? So that's them. The director of the Poltergeist reboot, he did an episode of Scream.
Wow.
Yeah, if you look up the directors that were involved in Scream, you will see some straight up legit. Like these have street cred. They've done some great horror movies, and they bring that horror eye to the show. Yeah,
I'll make sure to check that out.
Made it so great.
I'll have to make sure to check those people out, because I did not know that. It's very interesting. And
that's a great way to improve your list. Is just go through and write down those directors' name and look up their stuff, because they're legit.
Right, exactly. And so I mean, at least we'll have a Scream season 3. It's completed. We just gotta wait for it. So if any Scream fans that are watching, just now we're more comfortable and hope we'll expect it to come out soon. And your other big movie was Happy Death Day, because that one part 2 is coming out later this month, and I really enjoyed it. It was a very cool concept of a film. And how was it making that film?
Oh man, okay, so here's some fun knowledge about that. So first of all, it was a hoot. It was fun to make. It was more difficult than most, because the continuity had to be spot on, and we filmed everything out of sequence. And also, as the movie progresses, every time she wakes up, she's supposed to look a little more and more deteriorated, like she's getting sicker. So we would shoot like all the waking up scenes in one day and out of order.
Okay.
So it would be like, okay, she's got this makeup on, but she's got circles under her eyes, and she's got like her sallow complexion. We'd have to do that. So we'd have to take it off and make her look bright and lovely, because it was the first wake up.
Right.
So that was an issue. But a fun fact was about a week into filming, our lead actress, Jessica Ross, we were filming a scene where she's running in the hospital away from the killer, and she actually slipped while running, and she fell on her face. And this was, we were just a week into filming, and she was bruised up and swollen. And so rest of the movie, I actually had to do special effects makeup on her to cover up the bruises, to cheat the swelling. Her one side of her lip had swollen to twice its size.
Oh no!
So I had to cover it. I had to cover it with special effects makeup and then paint on a new lip, and it's legit. So it's half of that show was special effects makeup with beauty makeup on top of it, and in addition to any other things. The only thing that I kind of wish was that we could show the kills, but I get it. I totally get the reasoning behind it, and it's like, you know, the Rosemary Baby effect. Like it has more of an impact if you don't actually see her dying.
Yeah.
It's like, we get it. We know what's happening.
Exactly.
And I can tell you the sequel, I'm always nervous about sequels when it comes to movies because, you know, you're always worried it's not going to be as good as the first one. And how can you possibly go from here? And this one, I got to tell you, you're going to flip. You're going to love it. Chris Landon is an amazing director, an amazing writer. And his script, I swear to God, it's like, imagine Back to the Future 2 meets Rick and Morty. That's what you can look forward to.
Wow.
In the sequel.
That's exciting.
And it's got some new characters who are awesome. It's really, if you thought the first one was good, I think you're really going to dig this one.
Wow, that's great to hear. I'm excited. Sure. And does that come out Valentine's Day?
Actually, from what I understand, and this is me just spreading some gossip, you know, spilling some tea. It comes out. It was supposed to come out Valentine's Day, but it's coming out a day early, I believe, because it's coming out on the 13th instead of the 14th. And from what I understand, it's to pay in order to pay respect to. I believe there was a shooting that happened exactly a year ago. That day, and they didn't want to possibly take away any attention from that and let people fully give attention to that. So they decided to release it a day early, which is a really cool thing to do because it's absolutely a day that we should all definitely reflect on. How we need to keep the horror on the camera, on screen, not off screen, guys.
Yes, for sure.
Not the purge.
Wow, that's too bad to hear. I know there's too much of that stuff happening now, so.
Which I will say is unfortunate as all of this depressing stuff is. It actually, and hear me out on this one. It gets me excited for the future of the horror genre because throughout history we've seen that a new genre in the horror world has come about as a result of a really, really horrible time in history. The Cold War, the Vietnam War, everything has brought about like zombies, vampires. So with the country, the state it is, the world, the state it is, and all this violence going on, I feel like it's going to push and provoke a form of escapism, meaning more. Maybe a new genre of horror is going to be revealed. But, you know, maybe Happy Death Day is the new genre, the horror comedy. That could be embraced more. And, you know, because you still get that comedic wit, but it doesn't take away from there's actually something scary going on. We've got the Get Out are now actually being given a platform to be a contender with other great movies because no one ever gave horror the time of day.
Right.
So I'm hoping that something good will come out of all this bad, where we'll have either a bigger platform for horror, we'll have a new genre, or we'll have a greater appreciation, a wider spread audience now for the genre that we all love so much.
Yeah, I see your point there. And what's it called? Hellfest. That just came out, I believe, this past year in 2018. That was a really good one too. It was a different kind of concept, which I really enjoyed because, you know, I don't know if you ever heard of it. Well, there's a lot of different theme parks that do the Halloween haunt and all that kind of stuff. And I go to one Wonderland in Canada, and they always do Halloween haunt. And I'm like, the movie was such a good concept that I haven't really seen before, and had a great cast, great storyline. And how was it working on that film?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like when I first read the script, I remember I went in to interview for the position, and it was the first time that I was actually nervous going to the interview because I didn't realize how badly I wanted to do the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Until I got there, and I was an idiot. Thank God the director took pity on me. But I was just an idiot because I was so excited about it. I was so excited about this concept.
Yeah.
Like, that's so great. That's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're actually having people leaving this movie kind of legitimately concerned. When Halloween comes around, is this going to be a thing I have to worry about?
Mm-hmm.
Normally we're stuck to like, oh no, the vampires will get me at night, or like the boogeyman in my closet.
Yeah.
And which are legitimate fears, let's be real. And now we've got this whole like added extra component, this interactive aspect. And the funny thing too was this was my second time working with Sarah Klaus, because we work together on Scream, and she's become like my stepdaughter.
Yeah,
like,
she's great. She's awesome.
I am her mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm her mother. She is my daughter, and she was just a powerhouse to work with. And man, I think the best part for me about that show was creating the look of the haunt itself, because the director wanted something very 1920s carnival, very old school carnival, that creepy, antiquated look.
Right.
And so it was taking the basic haunt characters and adding that 20s carnival twist to it, really took it to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. The only thing that was really sucked balls was that we filmed that in Atlanta in February, I think, was when we filmed it.
Okay.
And they shut down because the theme park that we filmed at was shut down for winter. And since it took place at night, we filmed all night. So it was like 4 weeks of hard nights, meaning you start work at like 4 p.m. and you don't end until 8 or 9 a.m. And the weather was like negative fuck you.
Oh
and
my.
We're all just so cold and we're tired.
Yeah.
And I think the only other perk too was it was also my second time working with Tony Todd.
Yeah.
And he did an episode of Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert. And the first time that he came onto Scream, I remember I fangirled out because I was, I'm from an older generation.
Yeah, Candyman.
Candyman. Yeah, Candyman was a very big part of my growing up.
Yeah.
Like, Candyman. And then you're surrounded by a lot of millennials who are just like, who's Candyman? And you're like, don't worry about it. Let me have this moment. So getting to work with him again, mm-hmm. and then also design his look, which coincidentally, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Blood Drive.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
Dude, you gotta check it out. It's sci-fi, but if you like grindhouse movies,
okay,
that whole show it's like 8 or 10 episodes, I believe, and it all is one big grindhouse movie.
Wow.
There's so much blood, sex, violent, fast cars. It's everything. But Tony Todd's makeup for Hellfest was inspired by one of the characters on Blood Drive.
Oh, wow.
So that just shows how easily that show kind of incorporates into our world,
mm-hmm.
and how everyone gets inspired from other things. And yeah, so that was a really fun experience. Elements aside, director was great, the cast was great, the crew was great. The whole making of it was really fun because you really felt like you're a part of making something bigger.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we're making a new genre.
Mm-hmm. Because it hasn't been done before. That kind of concept hasn't been done before. And Small World is my friend Haley, aka Gory B Movie from Horror Addicts. Her cousin is Seth Sherwood, who wrote the film.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah,
Small world.
I know.
Small world in the horror family.
It really is. Yeah, and he did a good job.
Cool, that adds that.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say he did a good job with writing the script because it was a new, different concept that we haven't seen before.
No, it was so so great. It was so great. And like I said, it was reading that script is what made me nervous because I was like, this is such a good script.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really, really want to do this. Normally I'll read a script and I'm just like, cool concept. I can't wait to do the makeup. But this is one where I was just like, I need to be a part of this. This is part of a new genre. This is excellent writing. The concept's fantastic. I'm really super stoked for it.
Exactly.
And yeah, it was. I thought it was so well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really pleasantly surprised that it was received as well as it was because a lot of times it's not, and a lot of times a lot of good shows don't get to see the light of day, or they're buried in a streaming service. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful we actually did have Gillian Hurd, who was the executive producer of Walking Dead.
Yes.
She was there for the first 2 weeks of filming.
Oh wow.
And she had her hand in everything for like QC, so quality control. And so whenever that came into play, I knew that we were really making something special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once I saw her name pop up in the credits at the opening, I'm like, oh wow, she's on here because I knew she did Walking Dead, so I'm like, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Well, and that's the thing too is a lot of times you see people's names on the show and you don't know if they actually were there or if they just slapped their name on it to get to give it more leverage.
Yeah.
But no, she was there. She was on the front lines. She was very had a heavy hand in making sure that the quality of the movie was to what it should be.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that very often.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yay, power women.
Michael Vegas, he actually asked this because I know Hellfest and Bloodfest. I haven't seen Bloodfest yet, but I've seen Hellfest. They're supposed to be kind of similar, but I think Bloodfest is more comedy. Have you seen Bloodfest yet, Ashley?
I have not seen Bloodfest yet.
Okay.
I need to write that on my list of things to see.
I got a Blu-ray copy a couple weeks ago. I have to watch it though. I heard it's kind of similar to Hellfest, but not completely, and it has like more comedy and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. That's awesome.
That's even better because now we're creating a genre.
Yeah, exactly.
I love hearing that. That's amazing.
For sure.
And I definitely have to see it.
Mm-hmm. I gotta see it. I'm gonna watch it one day. Oh, here's a good one. Do you have any secret talents and hobbies outside of doing all these special effects makeup?
I did start off as a fine artist, so watercolor and sculpting was my medium. And so in between shows, you know how runners or athletes, they in between they keep training. They got to keep in shape.
Right.
I feel that same way about creativity. So if I'm not working on a show, I paint.
Okay.
And I'll either do watercolor. I just got into oil painting, which is a really cool new way of painting that I'd never really done before. Coincidentally, sculpting and watercolor play perfectly into the special effects world because sculpting obviously for prosthetics, and then watercolors we use in the industry a lot an alcohol activated palette, which is basically the colors are all plastic and they turn to liquid when you add 99% alcohol, and when the alcohol evaporates, that color's left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially watercolors. So that plays into it. Other than that, I mean, I grew up super into 40s, 30s, and 20s, obsessed with the looks and aesthetics down to fashion. I'm kind of a girly girl when it comes to that, but most of my hobbies do lie in this world that we live in.
Right.
Other than that, it's just watching some indie horror movies on Netflix and any streaming service whenever I can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And because you're saying you did a lot like painting when you were younger, and you do it now. I just saw someone's answer in the chat from earlier, and it said, what was your experience growing up as a horror fan? Was it accepted in your town, city, or looked down on?
Honestly, that's a really great question. I grew up in Kingwood, Texas, and it was a very conservative-y kind of place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for survival, I learned that, I mean, of course, I quickly kind of got in with the theater kids.
Right.
They were weird like me. And I think for survival, I had to learn how to keep my weird quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So that just meant that I spent a lot of time by myself by my own choice.
Right.
I wanted to watch horror movies. I wanted to do all these things. It definitely was something that I had to keep on the DL. And it wasn't until much later in life when I left the town and came into a bigger city. I went straight from Kingwood to Los Angeles for college. And then I realized that there was a community of people like me that loved horror.
Right.
That wanted to just talk about it for a long time. That I could really let my horror flag fly. You could put your pins on, the buttons on.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, I think I definitely had to keep it on the DL for the most part and just, casually find people out and who could possibly have the same interests as me.
Mm-hmm.
And had I known and had there been more of these conventions, these horror conventions growing up, oh man, that would have outed me sooner. I would have been like, oh my God, there's so many people like me.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, it was a time that there wasn't, I think the internet started when I was like in high school for us, and it was the dial-up and just the Facebook chat room.
Yeah.
And so I never really had a chance to see my obsession as anything other than what was limited to my room.
Right.
So I completely encourage all of you horror children out there, come to mama, find your horror friends. Those are good. Those are people who are going to have you back for life.
Exactly.
We all have that same passion, and we're all a family. And anybody that I run into at a horror convention, we're family. It's just, we don't even need to go through the getting to know you stage. We're getting drinks right now, and we're talking about the latest movie that just came out or some classics.
Yeah, it's awesome. I totally agree with you because, like, as I said, like me joining this YouTube community, I met so many amazing people. Me going to a lot of like different Comic Cons and met a lot of cool horror fans. It's an awesome community and everyone's very close, and it's great to share this interest.
Yeah, I actually had a really cool experience. I went to a Texas Frightmare, and a fan had reached out to me via Instagram and said that she was going to be there. And I was like, oh my God, we totally have to come hang. And she said that she'd mentioned that she was autistic, and she was really scared to come to the convention. I'm just like, boo, I understand if you're not ready, but if you want to brave it and try your first horror con, this is the way to go, because you're going to find your people and you're going to feel safe. And she came, we hung out, we did a round around there, and she realized that was it was totally a safe place for her. And now she's hooked on horror conventions. And I encourage everybody to just reach out to your fellow peeps. We don't have these holdups of, there is no social class in the horror community.
Right.
There is no levels of this or that. We're all on an even playing field because we're all fighting the fight together for horror to be recognized as our passion of choice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll definitely keep in touch with you and let you know if I ever travel to the States for a horror con, if you end up going to one. And
absolutely, you have to.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And one thing I want to end off the interview with is I want to get some of your upcoming projects, the word out there. Some of your upcoming projects is, as you mentioned before, is Black Summer. Happy Death Day 2, of course. Happy Death Day to you. And The Last Possession. Can you talk more about the Black Summer and The Last Possession?
Yes. So Black Summer, you guys are going to lose your mind. And this was a project from the heart. It stars Jamie King, who's a powerhouse in it. And the idea behind the show is, there's a lot of movies when a zombie apocalypse breaks out. You see the initial outbreak, and then you see like months later when everyone's trying to survive. That's all you ever see.
Right.
You don't see that immediate point, like right after. You don't see like the month after it happens. I mean, there's the only one I think that we do have is 28 weeks later. But that's still like, that's still like a half a year, 6, 7, 8 months. I want to know about that 3-month period where people have heard about the outbreak, places are shutting down, and then all of a sudden you lose communication with the world.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then? I want that story.
Right.
So this is a lot of people say it's a prequel to Z Nation. I mean, I did not experience that fully when filming it because we had a completely different approach to. First of all, we don't call them zombies; we call them Zeds.
Okay.
And the makeup is very viral based. We did extensive. The director John Hyams, amazing, and he's turned this into such an art house piece. And the DP, Levy, he knows how to shoot the fuck out of anything, and it takes you on this like totally stress filled ride of a woman. Basically, you get the point of view of this. It's a bunch of different stories that all interlock, kind of like very Soderbergh-esque. And it's basically a woman, her husband and her child go to a checkpoint. She gets separated from her child because the Zeds are approaching and all chaos breaks loose. And so it's a woman trying to find her child while escaping this impending zombie apocalypse, essentially, that's happening. And then there's a bunch of other people along the way whose narratives intertwine, and there's so many metaphors about the refugee crisis, about just humanity in general, but without being pretentious and shoving it down your throat. Because there's plenty of those movies where we're like, well, okay, we get it, it's a metaphor, good for you, metaphor, right. Get it, got it. This one isn't that way, so you guys are gonna flip.
Wow.
And the makeup, it's all infected, lymphatic based.
Ooh.
We made sure like it definitely is a different take on a Zed than you've ever seen. That's coming up. It's coming up this spring, and Jamie King does an amazing job bringing back that Ripley-esque powerhouse female protagonist without playing at it so hard. So that's going to be a thing. So
that's awesome.
Watch out for the female protagonist.
That's exciting.
And Last Possession, that was actually filmed like a couple of years ago.
Oh wow!
And it's a short film, and it actually features the alien that I've mentioned.
Okay, cool.
It's like a 12-hour makeup application. Other than that, I'm currently working on a TV show that's not horror based, unless you count the cattiness of women horror based. But I'm working on Claws, season 3 right now. So we're definitely upping the ante. We came in guns a-blazing with makeup ideas. But yeah, definitely look out for Black Summer, all you horror fans. You are going to have your mind blown. And also, honestly, dude, check out Blood Drive. I think you guys would love it.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's an unspoken hero. No one ever talked about it. It came and went, and it's something that will change your life.
I'll definitely check. I'm typing in it right now, so I can check it out right after here. Blood Drive. All right, cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. I want to check it out too because I'm excited to see that. Well, those were, what's it called? Those projects that you're working on sound very exciting. I'm very excited for them. And everyone in the chat, make sure to go check out Ashley on social media. All the links are below. Go check out her newest projects that she's working on. And Ashley, thank you very much for taking the time today for being on the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure to talk, and thank you again.
Of course. Thank you very much for being on the show. Keep in touch, and I wish you all the best for 2019's newest projects.
Yes, and I will see you at a MonsterCon.
For sure. I'll keep in touch with you and let you know.
All right.
All right.
Take care now.
Take care. Have a good night. Bye.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys, that was my interview with Ashley Levy. She was great. I'm very excited for her newest projects that she's working on. And definitely go check her out on her social media and the link below in the description. Go follow her on there. And if you guys want to keep updated for the newest guests I'm getting on Chit Chat and Geek Out, make sure to go follow me on Instagram and keep updated for who's going to be on the show. I appreciate you all watching tonight, and I hope everyone has a great night, and hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl tonight as well. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye now.